Today I'm back to explore even more of the spiciest, most controversial LEGO hot takes submitted by you guys on my previous hot takes video. If you enjoy this series, drop a like below. Starting things off, I received a comment that's been keeping me up all night. The sheer thought of the horror that Plague Dr. James wants to unleash is truly frightening. You see, this supervillain in training thinks that LEGO should abandon all of its existing themes like Star Wars, Ninjago, Technic, and City, and bring back the one LEGO theme that we've all spent the last 20 years trying to forget: Galador. For anyone who might not know, or for anyone lucky enough to have forgotten, Galador was a massive flop of a line released back in 2002 that focused on the adventures of a pair of teenagers, Nick Bluetooth and Allegra Zane, as they struggled to save the outer dimensions from the evil Gorm. This was much more than just a LEGO line though, because they released 2 seasons of an equally questionable TV show at the same time. LEGO even partnered with McDonald's to release a series of promotional figures for the theme. I've talked about this a few times, so I won't go into too much detail, but if you haven't noticed, these toys are very non-LEGO looking. Many elements used in this theme don't match up with any other LEGO pieces, meaning that much of Galador was pretty much incompatible with any LEGO you already owned. Needless to say, the line and the TV show were complete failures despite being a good market test for LEGO at the time. Galador's legacy is one of great experimentation, but I'll be honest, I don't want these sets ever to come back. If you have any Galador sets, let me know in the comments if you think the theme should be revived. Now, although Galador might have been doomed from the beginning, it came out during a period of pretty significant changes at LEGO. Throughout the mid to late 1990s, the company had been struggling financially and was desperate to get back on its feet. Bolstered by the massive success of the then new Star Wars sets, LEGO entered something of a renaissance at the turn of the 21st century. A user named BigMan86 seems to think that this was a real sweet spot for LEGO, saying that LEGO sets from today pale in comparison to those released 20 years ago. And while I do see his point, LEGO does release an astonishing array of sets nowadays, such as the NASA Apollo 11 lunar lander and the Starry Night sets, or giant sets such as the Ninjago City Markets, Lion Knight's Castle, and the Avengers Tower sets. But despite all of this, it's impossible to deny that in the early 2000s, LEGO brought us some pretty major highlights within their catalog. For one, we got the first LEGO Harry Potter sets in 2001. These came hot off the success of Star Wars and proved that licensed sets could sell just as well, if not better, than anything that LEGO could put out. However, the rest of the LEGO set launches from this era were a bit more original. The year 2000 saw the release of Dino Island, the third sub-theme in the Adventure series. A few years later, in 2003, LEGO released the last sub-theme featuring Johnny Thunder with the Orient Express line. This line was quite popular among fans. And in 2003, we got what might be my personal favorite line from the era, LEGO Discovery. These sets were all focused on real-world spaceships like the Saturn V moon mission, the Mars Exploration Rover, and even the International Space Station. Pretty cool. However, the longest lasting legacy from these turn-of-the-century sets has got to be Bionicle. These sets managed to take off in popularity despite having some of the same potential issues as Galador. The Bionicle sets didn't really look like anything that LEGO had ever put out before and used several unique parts that didn't necessarily fit with more standard LEGO bricks. However, while Galador's figures were abominations, Bionicle figures were generally loved by fans, and the Bionicle storyline was very strong. But as per usual, not everyone agrees with this. One of the hottest takes that I got was from Aiden the Carrot, who just flat out said that Bionicle was by far the worst LEGO line ever released. While they don't go into any specific details about their specific grievances, they do lay out 2 more hot takes that provide a little bit of context. Much like BigMan86, Aiden thinks that today's LEGO sets are a bit underwhelming and were better in the past. However, this viewer moves the golden age back even further. According to Aiden, the best time for LEGO was between 1989 and 1997, with LEGO Pirates being the very best theme of all time. The quote, best years of LEGO is quite subjective for everyone, as it is rooted in childhood nostalgia for the most part. For example, I absolutely love the years of the LEGO Space Police 3 line, as well as Power Miners and the early Ninjago Spinners, as these themes introduced me to LEGO as a young kid. But in regards to the range of 1989 to 1997, the late 90s weren't a great time for LEGO, as as a company financially, and that has to do with several decisions that they made throughout that decade. While the specific details are perhaps a topic for another video, the short version is this. As electronic toys became cheaper and more appealing for consumers, LEGO was struggling to stand out on store shelves. As a result, they began experimenting with all kinds of wild new sets. Some of these experiments would prove to be massive successes. LEGO Pirates set sail in 1989 and ushered some impressive builds that are still prized by collectors today. Several fan-favorite themes came out in the 90s, such as Rock Raiders, Adventurers, M-Tron, Ice Planet, Aquazone, and much more. Some themes, though, were relegated to obscurity. Sadly, the wildly unique LEGO Time Cruisers theme only lasted 2 years with 9 sets total and is rarely ever talked about to this day. The issue that some of these themes caused LEGO, though, had nothing to do with just how cool or not cool they were. In fact, these sets' uniqueness is what ultimately caused a lot of problems for LEGO as a company. Back in the 90s, almost every LEGO set had some sort of large, specially molded pieces that were only used in 1 or 2 sets. For example, the Imperial Clipper from 1992 came with this whole piece that has only ever appeared in 1 other set. Likewise, these giant translucent orange quarter domes were only ever released in a single set, however they did come out in 7 more in different colors over the next few years. However, the point is that this approach led to pretty massive losses for the company at the start, as the design and manufacture of new molds is incredibly expensive, and making one for a single line or even just a single set simply was not sustainable in the long run. In a similar vein, there's this comment from a fan named Steven who argues that the only good Star Wars sets are from the original trilogy and the prequels. I mean, in a way he might be right, as these films have had more than 20 years of LEGO releases while the newer movies have had less than 10, but regardless of your thoughts on these movies, there have been some great sets based on them. Poe's X-Wing Fighter is a great spin on the classic set, as well as the 2017 Millennium Falcon. Sure, these are just new versions of older ships, but BB-8 is a great display set. Now, while many fans might argue about what the best era for LEGO was, I got one viewer who managed to narrow it down even more. This viewer flat out said that the only LEGO sets that they care about are the Sonic the Hedgehog sets. I mean, these are certainly cool sets. The Green Hill Zone is an amazing build, but more specifically, this comment actually highlights something really unique about LEGO. With so many licensed sets out there these days, there really is a LEGO set for everyone. Even if you've never built anything before, getting a set based around your favorite game or movie or IP is always a great gift. Up next is a very hot take from a viewer going by the name Is the Pizza for You and Me? And I won't lie, I took this one a bit personally. This poor, misguided soul claims that Lizaroo is cooler than Spitta, which is ridiculous. Whether or not this is a joke comment or actually this viewer's true feelings, obviously I don't agree with this hot take. Out of respect, I have to give Lizaroo kudos for being a fellow Venomari tribe member, but he can't stand up to my man Spitta. Spit's got 2 massive snake fangs, a super cool cobra-shaped head, 2 eyes on each side, and a much better front view than Lizaroo. Get Lizaroo some braces to deal with those crooked fangs, and then we'll revisit this conversation. Now, this next LEGO hot take might divide some of you, but first, please quickly go tap that subscribe button if you enjoy my videos. I really appreciate the support. Alright, so when it comes to personal preference, it's pretty hard to argue that something is objectively better or worse than something else, especially when the 2 things in consideration have very little in common. But that didn't stop one of my fans from making a pretty apples to oranges comparison when they stated that Marvel is better than LEGO City. I mean, recent Marvel sets have been absolutely incredible, while City seems to be struggling lately, albeit with a few hidden gems like the 2024 Prison Island set and the brand new Space Line, which is really cool. You may have noticed that LEGO City is a bit cyclical in nature. The theme certainly has years of splendor, while other years feel a bit lazy as LEGO recycles concepts that have been popular in the past. From a business perspective, this strategy works great for LEGO. Certain things such as hospitals and fire trucks will always sell well. The issue is that it's a bit hard to compare Marvel to City, as these 2 themes have very little in common aside from some of the much larger buildings. But even the largest modulars like the Jazz Club or Natural History Museum aren't technically released under the City theme. What do you think? Which side are you on, Marvel or City? Now, in my first ever LEGO Hot Takes video, I jokingly mentioned how much I enjoy munching on the delicious and chocolatey brittle brown bricks, and it seems like I'm not the only one. A fan going by Shiny has a unique way of dealing with with spare parts, stating that they're meant to be eaten. I can't lie, a handful of colorful plastic snacks is tempting, but you have to resist that temptation. Another user named EMST takes it a bit further, claiming that the blue ones taste better than the red ones. Yeah, I wouldn't recommend testing this theory yourself. I'm personally just going to believe this as a fact, as I don't plan on eating them anytime soon to find out. Now, moving on, we all know the risks of not cleaning up after building. Not only can you lose some valuable pieces, but you might also cause severe bodily harm. If you ask anyone who's been around Lego long enough, they'll tell you just how dangerous these little plastic bricks can be. While a spare Lego brick sitting on a table is no worry to anyone, an unseen piece sitting on the floor at night is essentially a landmine waiting to ruin your night. That is, of course, unless you're Jason here, who seemingly has feet made out of pure steel and claims that stepping on a Lego brick doesn't hurt at all. Well, Jason, how about you try out one of these Lego pieces next, and have fun, I guess. Up next is perhaps the coldest hot take in today's video, which came from a fan going by Austin, who claims that Edna Mode from The Incredibles is the most cursed minifigure head out there. Honestly, I'm kinda tempted to agree here. There's just something about that smile combined with those giant eyes that makes me feel a little uneasy. Her updated minifigure is a bit better at least. But what about when it comes to building sets? What kinds of controversial opinions do fans have? Well, one of my favorite hot takes came from Rose Thorne, who claims that the real fun of Lego is sorting them, storing them, and collecting rare pieces. I won't lie, the inner collector in me wants to agree with this. Truth be told, most of my Lego is pretty well organized, and I do buy Lego sets for the parts and minifigures from time to time. However, I do like displaying fully built sets, but at the end of the day, you can do whatever you want with your collection of colorful plastic bricks. Now, another building opinion came in from Cap VR, who seems to have a rather unique way of building Lego. This individual doesn't look at the blue box that tells you which parts you need. Instead, this individual just plays a game of spot the difference between each instruction step. For most sets these days, that's probably not too much of an issue, as there aren't many pieces added in each step. But if this style of building gives you anxiety, you might want to consider that this is just how every set used to be. Just look at these old castle instructions for a peek into the past, where all instructions were entirely spot the difference, with many bricks added in each step. And then there are also hot takes regarding the actual sale practices of Lego. One of my viewers apparently isn't a fan of Lego gifts with purchase, but that doesn't really explain why. If I had to guess though, their issue might be with just how hard it is to get some of these and how much money you inevitably have to drop. As a recent example, the new Dungeons & Dragons Red Dragon's Tale set is an absolute masterpiece, and if you buy it directly from Lego, you can get the equally awesome Mimic dice box. Sadly, the only way to get this particular gift is to purchase the $360 full D&D set or pick it up from a scalper. This isn't the first time that Lego has done this, and it won't be the last, but it's always upsetting to have an amazing build locked behind such a high price tag. Another issue with Lego's store, as pointed out by NPW007, is that they retire sets too quickly. Most sets only last a couple years, although some of the most popular, primarily large sets, last much longer. For example, the UCS Millennium Falcon has been on sale since 2017, and the Disney Castle was on sale for 6 years until its retirement at the end of 2022. But that's not all, because there are a lot more Lego hot takes that I discuss in this video. Click here right now to watch, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel for more Lego videos.